Subscribe to my channel.
Okay, so guys, welcome back. Our next lesson we're going to be looking at is arrow function. All right, we'll be looking at arrow function in our next lesson. So now for this, in this lesson we'll be looking at arrow function. Okay, sorry, my bad. All right, so if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, guys, please subscribe. All right, now this is recorded as our lesson 11, and I want us to understand what is arrow function. All right, we say arrow function is the shortest syntax of an anonymous function. All right, the shortest syntax for an anonymous function. Now, how do we know that arrow function is the shortest way we can write arrow or anonymous function? Is one, arrow function doesn't have a name, rather it have a variable name being assigned to it. Okay, so now let's have a quick example on this arrow function quickly. So we'll say const and say add. All right, and then we say assign. Now we want to assign. Now we have declared the variable, but after calling the assignment or operator, we need to invoke, we need to send in a function to it. We'll say a command b. Now outside of this, we make our arrow. There's the arrow. All right, now on this arrow here, we giving a or argument or condition, or we giving our argument saying a plus b. All right, and close this. Now the function has been set up perfectly. There's the arrow function. All right, this is the shortest syntax of writing anonymous function. All right, for anonymous function you have to write whole lots of different things. Okay, but I don't want you to be confused. Now to come here to get our result, okay, we will come right down here and say console.log. now in here we have add this. Now we have invoked the variable function into it. Now we have invoked the function and we need to pass in two argument value. All right, because we have argument a and argument b. So our first value will be 10 and our second value will be 30. Now get out of this and close it. So we expect the result of this, the output of this output should be 40. All right, 40. So if we save this, we open this, or we come to our inspect tools quickly. If we open the console log, we see 40 is here. All right, the 40 is here. Now we can also tweak this around by changing the value. We can come here and say 5 and come here and change this and say multiply. All right, and come back, we'll still find 150. Okay, now so guys, this is understanding and learning how to write arrow function. All right, so this is just it for arrow function. I hope that we learned something from this video, and trust me, if you find any difficulties, please don't hesitate to give me that comment. All right, don't hesitate to give me that comment. All right, please do not hesitate to give me that comment. All right, now let us try another way that we can use arrow function. All right, let's try another way that we can use arrow function. In case I come here, I say const and then say, let me change this back to add, please, and say const and say multiply. All right, we say const multiply, and then for here, after saying const multiply, we want to give a value to it. We want to assign something to it. In this parenthesis here, we want to say here, or instead of using const here, let's use let. All right, let. Okay, let's use let and say, but let me get rid of the first quote out here, get rid of it so that we can have enough space to see what we are doing. Okay, so I'll just take it over for this for our sake. We'll say let multiply let multiply equal, and then we say parenthesis open, we say a comma b. All right, now we get out of this, we give it the arrow function again. We give it the arrow function. After giving it the arrow function, we open this out. Now in here we can write our arguments and other things. We say let result equal, that is, we're passing our answer to another variable, equal a times b. All right, we close this. Then we say return the result. All right, return the result. After we save this, we want to check it out in the browser and see what we have. Now if you check here, we don't have anything. All right, we don't have anything. But if I come here and say console.log and say here I want to pass in a value and return the result of this. Okay, I want to pass in a value and return the result. So I will say another parenthesis here and say 4, 2. All right, and close this, save it. Now after passing this, we have passing in the result, and we are giving this the 2 value, and we're asking it to return the result. Let's open this up and refresh it. Now we see 8. All right, we see 8. Now let us go back and explain this identical code. All right, now on our arrow function for the next example, we say let multiply equal, there's a variable. All right, we declare the variable and then we assign the function to it. Now into the function we have this, we declare another variable and pass our argument to it, and after passing the argument to it, we come here, we ask it to return this identical argument. Now if I come outside here and extract 2 different values, all right, into the 2 variables that we declare into the function, into the 2 argument that we pass into the function here, which is 4 and 2, it will print out our apple. Our apple will be 8. Okay, so if you console.log a, it will be 8. So like I check it in the browser here, it is 8. All right, like we see here. So guys, thank you very much for staying around. I hope that we learned something from the video. Please don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video, where we will be discussing another function. All right, another type of function. There are several other type of function. All right, we'll be discussing the next, we'll be discussing the immediate invoke function expression. All right, after discussing it, trust me, we know what.
Subscribe to my channel.